Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Joy. How are you today?
Great.
Nice looking in your nice flag.
No, I know how
Hey, Skip, how you doing today?
I know how it's played.
Skip.
I got it.
Hey, Skip, how you doing today?
You know what? I got a question.
Okay.
I was a little surprised. Why didn't we start this show with a flashback to our predictions on the Patriots-Ravens game the way we started yesterday's show with a flashback to Friday's predictions on Giants-Cowboys?
Because you're not as heavily invested in the Patriots as you are the Cowboys. And so I was heavily...
Yeah, I am.
No, you
I
weren't.
picked them to win the Super Bowl.
But they're not your baby. But you know what, Skip? I'm going to apologize. For the last, I would say, since 1990, my sister Libby, we call her Buck. My brother and I, we call her Buck. We've talked on average 4 to 5 times a day since 1990. I would say she's probably my best friend. And yesterday I only talked to her twice because she made me upset. Because she said the way I did you, Skip has won 11 weeks, Shannon, and he comes out there every week and he's nice and he lets you say your point and you wouldn't let him speak.
True, Libby. Thank you.
So you know what I did?
Hung up on her.
That's why she only talked. That's why she only talked to me twice.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be a Benedict Arnold sister,
Just the way you hang up on me every day, right here on this show,
That's
right?
nice. Libby's on your side, Steve.
Yeah, I like
Second
Libby.
time Libby's
I know two women on Skip's side.
Yep.
I am completely
Ernestine
partial.
and Libby
Exactly.
on my side. That's it. Period. End of story. Joy remains objective on the show as the moderator of the
Exactly.
show.
That's my job.
You go to church every Sunday, Skip, and you
That's
just
the
said
truth.
that.
No, I do. I believe that from my heart.
Well, let's get started with last night's game. The Patriots overcame 2 special teams turnovers and beat the Ravens 30-23. Tom Brady threw for over 400 yards with 3 touchdown passes. Brady has 50 wins and just 1 loss at home against the AFC since 2007. Skip, as you mentioned, you picked the Patriots to win last night. They have improved to 11-2 now. So how impressed were you by their performance?
You're probably asking the wrong guy here, but I was obviously, as anybody should be, extremely impressed with the Patriots overall, but even more impressed with that 39-year-old quarterback. What's his name? That guy, Brady?
Tom.
Yeah. Who simply played one of the greatest games in the regular season he's played in his 15 years as a starting quarterback. And by the way, he managed to do it last night without Rob Gronkowski and even without Danny Amendola. Who knew how Tom Brady could pull that off? And this is just me saying this. This is my 2 cents from a distance. It was an honor for me to watch that man, Tom Brady, operate against the NFL's #1 overall defense last night in Foxborough. And if New England hadn't handed Baltimore 2 shockingly uncharacteristic kicking game blunders, of course, the muff punt followed immediately by the fumbled kickoff, I think Tom Brady would have won that game 30-3, if not 37-3, because it might have broken completely open in the end. And Julian Edelman had a rare off night last night. He had 3 drops, and he broke off a route for reasons I don't know, in which Brady threw deep into the end zone, which made Brady furious. He took him to task sitting on the bench. I love Tom Brady for doing that because they will listen to him and respond well to that as opposed to some other quarterbacks doing that.
But I don't like that.
Yeah, I know, I got it. But they talked it out on the sidelines, and they are very close. But Brady threw a fit over that, as he should have. But despite Julian Edelman's off night, Tom Brady threw for 406 yards last night. And on throws of 15-plus yards down the field, Tom Brady went 8 of 10 for 248 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's his second most 15-plus yard completions in the last 10 years. His first most was against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which was in 2013, in which he had 10 longer completions. And Brady's 8 deep completions last night were the most the Ravens have allowed in the last 4 years. Brady also went against blitzes, 7 for 9 for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is just extraordinary against that Baltimore blitz. And so Tom Brady has now regained the NFL lead in my favorite statistic, QBR, over Dak Prescott. He is now 22 touchdowns, Tom Brady is, to only 2 interceptions for the year. He is now taking control of an MVP race he will not win because he had to sit out the first 4 games because he finally gave in and accepted his Deflategate suspension. But for all those out there who think that Gronk made Brady more than vice versa, I give you last night against the best defense in pro football, 406 yards and 3 touchdowns. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
First of all, no one ever said that Gronk made Tom Brady, because Tom Brady was a 3-time Super Bowl winning quarterback before he even knew Gronk existed. He had already won 2 Super Bowl MVPs before he knew Gronk existed.
There are those out there who have written and said that.
I don't know who those are, but they're not very intelligent. Skip, I'm not disappointed that the Ravens lost. I'm more disappointed in how they lost, because the Patriots turned the ball over 3 times. You mentioned Tom also threw a pick in the end zone.
And it was awful. It was shockingly unfair.
Even after turning the ball over 3 times, that offense still put up almost 500 yards of offense. So minus 2 full possessions, you're talking about a possible 600-yard night against the defense that's number 1. They were tied with the Patriots as far as points allowed, but they were number 1 in third down. They were number 1 in rush. They were number 2 in pass. If you do not get pressure on Tom Brady, he'll pick you apart. And because they couldn't get pressure on Brady, Jimmy Smith went down, and their secondary, that's the weak link. They can't cover on the back end. And Suggs is playing with a torn bicep. Elvis Dumerville has only been back a month, so he's trying to get back in football shape. And you look at what they were trying to do. It was very clear to me early on, and it should have been clear to the Patriots. Lewis and White were going to be very integral parts of the offense. Why would you continuously put linebackers on them in man coverage when they're at a decided disadvantage?
Pick your poison.
At some point in time, you have to say, you know what? This is where we're going to go, and let's roll coverage to them. Or put someone that's better suited to play man coverage. If you're a linebacker and you're playing a running back and he's lined up out wide, if you play 10 yards off, they're going to throw the slant to him. And then you're always going to be in the trail position. The next thing you know, the guy's going to pick up 60-plus yards on you. But then, from an offensive standpoint for the Ravens, Joe Flacco didn't play particularly well. See, this is why you have to give Coach Belichick a lot of credit, because he realized I can't get there with 4 guys. Because if I bring the extra guy or extra 2 guys, I'm really sacrificing my back end. And on the back end, they have not played well this year. So what we're going to do is we're going to rush 3 and play and drop 8. So they have to be very good on first and second down, because you can't play that coverage if it's 3rd and 2, if it's 3rd and 3. So you need to have it 3rd and long. And when you play them, you know going into the game that you're going to have to be patient. You can't take shots that's not there. When they give you an opportunity, you got to cash in on those. So you got to dink and dunk to move your way methodically down the field. Coach Belichick believes that if I make you go 13, 14 plays, I think there's a greater chance you're going to turn the football over as opposed to hitting me with a bomb over the top. And then, on the defensive side of the football, there's something illustrated, Skip, and it bothered me the whole night, and I tweeted out about it when it happened. Eric Weddle, the guy from San Diego, he's a very good safety. He's playing free safety. His only responsibility is to be in the deep middle of the field. That's his only job. He has no other responsibility. He doesn't have a run fake. Watch what he does. He's highlighted in the screen, Skip.
I saw it a number of times last night, but go ahead.
The only thing he's supposed to do is be in the deep middle of the field. One of 2 things should have happened if Tom Brady throws this pass. 1, he should have picked the play. 2, he should have depleted Hogan. You notice I didn't list the 3rd thing, which was a touchdown, because that's what shouldn't have happened. If he's playing his responsibility, if I get beat, any coach will tell you, if we get beat, something we've seen on tape, you're playing your responsibility, I can live with that. But what's going to get me upset, if you're not doing your responsibility, you're trying to cover for someone else, and then we get beat. That's when I have a problem. They gave up a safety. They got a blocked field goal. Devin Hester is arguably the greatest return man in NFL history, and he constantly let the ball hit the turf and go an extra 10, 15 yards.
Devin's a little past his prime.
Hold up. Them checks are still young. He's still collecting checks. Guess what he's going to do today, Skip? He's going to go upstairs and pick up a check.
He will?
Okay, then. So I don't use age. I'm in the results business. I don't really do the excuses minutes. Oh, man. I'm done with excuses. They used to be my friend, but I'm done with them now.
Well, New England could have used Devin Hester last night, returning. They'd take him right now.
Even with that being said, and that's why I'm so the Patriots are the Patriots. You know what you're going to get from this football team in December in their building. You better bring your A game. So even though they played probably a C game for them, a lot of people will take that. I mean, you get 500 yards of offense, people will take that. But for them, and Coach Belichick preached after the game, guys, I'm excited about the win, but we can't continuously win playing like this. You give up a ball on the 3-yard line. You give up a ball on the 22-yard line. You throw a pick in the end zone. That's not good enough. That's not who we are. So I'm very disappointed in the way the Ravens played, considering how good their defense has been this entire season, even though they've had a lot of injuries.
So you sound like a man who picked the Ravens, who's upset with the Ravens, and is now blaming the Ravens for making you look bad with your pick, and you're not giving enough credit to number 12 who played for the other team last night.
Skip, Skip, when you're the number 1 ranked defense.
They were coming in.
You
number
don't
one.
look, I don't care if it's Tom Brady at 27. You don't allow what happened last night to happen. You can't give up 500 yards of offense and you got 3 turnovers.
He was extraordinary last night, Tom Brady. He was throwing lasers everywhere. The 3 drops. What if Edelman hadn't dropped 3 balls? What if he hadn't broken off his route in the end zone? We might be talking about a 500-yard passing performance.
And okay, on the goal line, and I didn't illustrate this play, they got a goal line. They come on with an all-out blitz. Why is the corner playing off? All he's gonna do is just raise up and throw the quick slant. So that's
Malcolm Mitchell.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I don't. Dude, you're a cornerback. You know they're coming with a blitz. If you're playing off, where are you back? If you back up into the end zone and he catch it, guess what it is, Skip? You got to smell the deodorant. It's a touchdown.
But you got to pick your poison, and they picked the wrong poison a couple of times. And back to your Eric Weddle play, you know what happened? He got deked by maybe the greatest quarterback ever. Brady cut his eyes to the left, and Weddle bit on the eye fake. That's what it was. It was an eye fake. And look at it, he false steps to the right.
Yeah, he's playing center field.
I got it. You got to choose.
There's a guy streaming up the field on his left.
Okay, but that guy I have brought up numerous times on this show, and you have discounted that guy, Chris Hogan. You've said, he's just okay. He's just another guy. He ran 4.5 at the combine, and I looked on YouTube, and you can go look it up right now and watch it. This was unofficial, but he timed 4.39 in a YouTube 40-yard dash. Didn't even play football at Penn State, played lacrosse, then graduated and played 1 year of college football at Monmouth. Didn't obviously get drafted, bounced around the league, got cut a couple times. I first knew him from Hard Knocks. You remember
Always Open?
Always, with 7-Eleven, Always Open. That was a Reggie Bush name that Reggie gave him, but the star of that Hard Knocks was my friend Chad Johnson, who was in Ocho Cinco. But that's when I first knew of Chris Hogan. So then he goes to Buffalo and has 2 pretty good years, 41 catches and 36 catches. And if you could explain to me how Buffalo let Chris Hogan go to New England, you're way better than I. Now, New England had to pay him. They gave him 3 years, $12 million. So they gave him 7.5 guaranteed. He's a stud. I don't care what you say. He weighs 220. He's 6'1", 220, and he can flat fly. And he was flying up the seam. And I've seen a lot of quarterbacks miss that throw. He never broke stride. It hit him right there. It's as pretty a throw as you'll ever see. And it's also a pretty catch and run because you have to catch it without breaking 1 ounce of stride. And then he pulled away from all the DBs.
People don't realize how hard the over-the-shoulder catch is because you're tracking the ball and then all of a sudden the ball goes blind.
You would know.
Blind.
You would know.
So people don't realize, and people always think you catch the ball with your hands. You catch the ball with your eyes.
Well, usually just the pounding of your heels on the turf, it's jarring to your eyes and you can't focus.
That is exactly right. And then the ball all of a sudden, because it drops over your shoulder, it goes blind for a second and then falls into your hand.
It was a pretty play, man.
It was. And Skip,
by the way, Matt Elam stumbled too coming in. I think he had him.
But he has center field.
Yep.
The job of the center fielder is not to be the cutoff man for the second baseman. That's the second baseman job. If you do your job, that's my only problem, Skip. Sometimes things are going to happen. But if Tom Brady makes that play, and all of a sudden the guy just outruns Eric Weddle, jumps over the top of him and makes the catch, I can live with that. But he was not doing his responsibility. And that's what's so disappointing, because when you're the number one ranked defense, in order for you to get to that ranking, you've had to have a lot of guys do their responsibility more times than not.
Yep.
And this is the one team you can't be guessing. This is the one team you cannot do your responsibility and not have something bad happen to you, because they're great at situations. Tom Brady is the master. He knows if this guy makes a mistake, I'm throwing this ball to Hogan. It's not it. I might go here, I might go there. He automatically knows when he sees that formation, he sees what they're lined up in defensively. He says if he takes one false step, one way or the other, this ball is going to Hogan, because you have to realize that Hogan is not in a press position. So he's running full speed, unimpeded.
And by the way, Cromartie was on with us last week and made the point, you have to jam Chris Hogan at the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Didn't he say?
Yes.
You've got to knock him off his route immediately, because he doesn't adjust well to that. But that was a clean, free release.
But a lot of times, the hardest thing college receivers have a hard time adjusting to is press coverage, because nobody really presses in college. Because if you have a name, oh man, I can't mess with D.D. Westbrook, man. That dude might run by me.
I agree.
You come to the National Football League, everybody's putting hands on you, because even if it's only temporarily, they want you to pat your feet. That's just enough. Maybe give a Doomerville or Suggs to get there. But they didn't do that last night. You can always be impressed, because the Patriots are going to come out and give you their absolute best every game. So the Patriots didn't do anything I didn't expect them to do. I just expected, looking at the stats, watching the Ravens play this year, that they would play better than what they did on that side of the football. To give up 500 yards and you get 3 takeaways, that's a legit 40-point, 600-plus yard game for the Patriots in that building. It had they played an A game. And that's what's disappointing, and I'm sure John Harbaugh is saying the exact same thing.
And by the way, one other point on Chris Hogan, he already has such rapport with Tom Brady, such mental rapport. That was an option route, so he could go one way or the other. He could cut it off in a slant, or he could just go up the seam. And they both knew right away what was about to happen. So
because
you have to be on the same wavelength.
Because he has a free release. Once he gets the free release and he gets ahead of steam, why am I going to break it off? And then because here's the thing.
I got it.
Once they run the play fake, you see if he runs the slant, C.J. Mosley, who bites, all of a sudden he's getting back. He's going to possibly tip that and take the slant away. Hogan says, "Hey, I'm free release." They're not just straight up the field, and that's what was so disappointing. I'm not taking anything away from the Patriots. And sometimes when you say, well, this happened on the other team, people think that you're shading the Patriots. No, I'm not shading the Patriots. I just think the Ravens did a poor job of execution on their side of the football, and the Patriots capitalized on it. Even though they turned the football over 3 times, scored 30, that's normally a 42-point night and probably 600 total yard night for the Patriots.
I got it. So, Joy, if you will allow me to do this, I must remind my friend Shannon Sharp that my Super Bowl pick from August, Dallas versus New England. Now the Cowboys and the Patriots are both 11-2, the best record in the National Football League.
They have the best
and
record.
Those are the 2 teams that embarrassed the Baltimore #1 defense in the National Football League, because my Cowboys put up a mere 417 yards and 27 points on that Baltimore defense with 27 first downs. Patriots only had 20 last night. So Dak threw for a mere 301 against that defense. Well, I just throw that out, that those are the only 2 teams that were able to take advantage of what sounds like is a flawed Baltimore #1 defense.
No. First of all, that's you being disingenuous, Skip. They've lost 5 games. So clearly there have been 3 other teams that's taken advantage of that Baltimore defense as well.
Well, they're statistically, they've allowed the fewest yards and the fewest points in the National Football League.
Statistics look well on paper, but the stat that I look first and foremost, I'm going to look at this stat to the left. I want to see if it's a check in the, and then I'm going to look to that stat to the right, and I'm going to see if it's a check in that. Because if I look to the left, I don't really care what the stats say. Because they used to in 2000 when I was playing with the Ravens, and Brian Billick would always tell us, hey, everybody's talking about how bad our offense is. And I stood up in the meeting. I said, you know what? Everybody's saying about our bad offense, all the good offenses? They're at home watching while we're getting ready for the Super Bowl.
I got it. So, bottom line, our friend Jamie Horowitz was wrong about this, because sometimes numbers do lie, right?
Yes.
Right? Just that's kind of an inside joke.
Well, last night it would have been interesting to see them take advantage of what was not a very characteristic game of the Patriots with those
they would've
turnovers.
totally
we were
embarrassed.
dealing with Psycho Tom last night.
Oh, we didn't get to see
didn't get
Psycho.
to
I
see-
forgot. Well, I
No,
forgot.
we can- no,
We'll
no,
see him
we
We
later.
have
no.
time
We'll
for
see him
Psycho
later.
Tom. We have time for Psycho
Wait,
Tom.
No, we don't.
Let's
Do
see
we?
Psycho Tom.
Guys,
Wait,
look,
time for it.
look, come on, come on,
Let's go.
come on,
Let's go.
come on, Psycho
Let's
Tom,
go.
come on,
Let's go.
yeah. Have you ever seen a quarterback get that emotional? It's rare, raw, authentic. It's so Psycho Tom. When he gets in that mode, I know I'm good. I'm good.
You know what I want to happen Sunday? I want Odell to get right there and stand up on the bench when they score a touchdown, and I want him to yell, let's go. And I want you to come in here on Monday and say, hey, Odell getting them fired up.
Yeah, Odell's not a quarterback.
I don't care what he is.
Oh, I'm so glad we did that.
Thank you.
Coming up, who is the best running back in the NFL? Zeke or Le'Veon? Skip and Shannon debate that next.
No matter